Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to do a new series on this Terminator X. I'm going to try to do a little bit of boost builder tuning on here so that I can help you guys build some boost. Now there's a couple ways to do the boost builder on these, but I'm going to show you how I do it, what I've found to be the most effective way. So first thing we're going to do is go under your toolbox, and you'll want to add an individual configuration file. Let me go up here. This is what will normally pop up. You want to make sure that your advanced configuration file is there. You want to open that up. Mine has already been opened. You'll see it right here. I highlight right here. Advanced ICF. If you do not have it, that's what you are looking for. So what we'll do here when you open it up, there's two ways to do a boost builder on here. You have the 1D table and the 2D table. The 1D table, I've seen people design a boost builder here. I'll kind of show you how they've been doing it. Under enable table, that's the first thing we'll do. It'll be a timing offset versus RPM. And then you'll want to do the switched enable. This table will activate when trans brake is enabled. That's how you'll want to set that. And what they'll do is they'll go under here under your RPM. Let's say if you want it at 2800 RPM. Now this is actually not right how I have it set here at -50. But basically what you'll do is you'll pull, like, say 10 degrees of timing out. And what that'll do is when you hit your two-step, let's say if your two-step is set at 28 or 3200 RPM or whatever, let's say if it's at 32, you'll want to maybe ramp it in a little bit slower than that. Let's say we'll do 5 degrees at 2800, and at 3200 it'll pull 10 degrees of timing out. So then if you're up there at 20 degrees of timing as you start to build boost at 3200 RPM, it'll drop it down to 10 degrees of timing. And less timing usually means that you're going to ignite your fuel later, and therefore more of it's going to build into your exhaust system and build pressure and heat there. Now, that's one way to do it, but you also have to use the two-step limiter, which is under your spark and rev limiters, and you'll have to enable rev limiter number 1. This is how most people actually do the boost builder. However, I like to do a different way. I like to not use this rev limiter. Go back to your advanced ICF under 2D tables. I like to make this map in here. Let me show you guys what I did here. So first thing, we'll enable the table. I call it the spooler timing. Again, it's going to be a timing offset. This time we're going to have an extra axis in there. We're going to have RPM versus boost. And again, switched enable. This table will activate when trans brake is enabled. So that's the only time this table will be active. And if you look down here, what I did is on this particular car, we wanted it to do about 32 to 3400, roughly 3300 RPM is where it's going to basically limit the RPM at. And where you want your hard limit is where you're going to put your most amount of timing, or your high amount of timing. In this case, I just did 60. You could probably even do -100 in there. But basically, if your car has 20 degrees of timing at 3400 RPM under full throttle, well, you pull 60 degrees out of that, you're going to be at -40. So the engine just is not going to rev that high. I mean, it's literally going to just stop making power because all your timing is gone. So the RPM is going to want to drop back down to 3200 RPM, but then it ramps the timing back in. So basically the computer, what it's going to do is it's going to make a linear line between 32 and the 3400 RPM. So let's just say at 0 pounds of boost before you started to build anything, it's going to come over here at 3200 RPM. It's still 0 degrees of timing being, and remember this is just a multiplier, or I guess it just offset from your main timing map. So let's take a look at our main timing map just to get a little better reference. So at 3200 RPM at 0 pounds of boost, on this timing map I have, 0 pounds of boost roughly right here at 3200 RPM. So roughly 28 degrees of timing is what I have on this. This is a E85 engine. So you got 28 degrees of timing, and we'll go back to our 2D table. So 28 degrees of timing at 3200 RPM, and then all of a sudden it goes to 34, it's going to pull 60 degrees of timing out. So it's basically going to act as a rev limiter here, except there's no bouncing. The engine's just going to load up. It'll sound literally like you hit the end of your torque converter, except it's going to be a hard wall. It's not going to be like a stall where the thing slowly loads up. It's just going to stop pulling there, and you'll hear it on the exhaust, a much deeper tone because you're burning your fuel in your exhaust. Now, the reason that works so good for timing or for boost building is because of that, because of the low timing and pushing all that extra fuel into your exhaust system, creating all that extra heat. The boost will start to go up, and as the boost rises, it'll pull timing accordingly to keep the RPM there. And the reason I set this to -10 or whatever is so that in case you start to build boost before your RPM. So let's just say at 2600 it's already building 1 or 2 pounds of boost. Yeah, that'd be like 1 pound of boost. Sorry, 2 pounds of boost at say 2800 RPM. It's going to start to pull timing, and the RPM starts to climb. It's going to ramp the timing in at a slow rate that it's going to start pulling it out. You can make this part of your map as aggressive as you want or as unaggressive as you'd like. In this case, it's very unaggressive on this one, unless you're up at 4 pounds of boost. So let's say we already got 4 pounds of boost, 3200 RPM, -10 degrees of timing. The boost will start to climb pretty quick after that. But after it, if it tries to rev higher, it'll just pull all the timing out and it'll keep your rev limiter there basically. So yeah, you're creating an artificial load on your engine with timing, so you don't have to do it with the torque converter. So let's say your converter is loose enough you can get to 4000, but you're only doing 3200. Well, there's not very much load on your torque converter, and that's not very much load on your thrust bearings. And the transmission isn't suffering so much. So anyway, guys, I just figured I'd kind of share this. Give this a try. I promise you guys it'll make a lot of boost. The problem is, in a lot of cases, is it makes too much boost. So you'll want to control the boost that it makes in your boost ICF, and then under your trans brake launch input, your launch target PSI. This is where you're going to want to adjust how much you want to launch on. And you got to make sure your wastegates will go that low, because the only way to control the boost with this timing mod that I made is through your wastegate. So there is that downside to it. If it does not work, if you cannot control your boost, if it builds too much for your launch, that it just won't work with your wastegate setup and whatnot, you'll just have to go back to the way that the other guys were doing it, like I showed at the beginning of the video. So anyway, I just figured I'd show or share this style of boost builder that I came up with. Well, actually, I didn't come up with the idea. I've seen it on a forum on online for the factory ECUs, but I found a way to use it in the Terminator, and it works really good. I did it on a car. At 2800, I was able to make 6 pounds of boost on a twin turbo 6-liter. So, which I thought was pretty impressive. But it actually would make 6 pounds and it would keep climbing, but we had the wastegate set at 6. I'm just saying it was no problem getting to 6 pounds of boost on a twin turbo 6-liter. So I have high hopes for it working good, and I will be putting this Terminator in my truck. You guys know, for those of you guys who have been following my build videos, I'm building the twin turbo setup for my truck, and I'm planning on using the same boost builder function in it. So I'll let you guys know here. Hopefully in a few weeks I'll have it running, and I'll be able to do testing on my twin turbo 6-liter and see how it works. So but it does work really good on the other car that I had already done. So thanks a bunch for watching, guys. If you got any questions, leave comments below. I can make a follow-up video for people that have questions on this. I think I went over everything. I'm not entirely sure if I did, but yeah, this should work just fine. Thanks again for watching. Have a good one.